Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Soo, your 2022 Oakland mayoral candidate. Well, today I'm going to talk a little bit about economics. Speaking of which, I have to go to the public library to do an update on my iPhone software update. And so when you're homeless, that's your only option, is going to a public library and then getting the updates and whatever needs to be done. Plus, it allows me an opportunity to access the computers there. So if I need to do some paperwork, print something out, that's my opportunity to do so. So that's where I'm headed today. And in the meantime, I thought, well, I may as well talk about finances here in Oakland. And it's a mess. We've had several city audits, and the outcomes of those have been pretty ugly, we'll say. Money that was redirected from one department to another department. Stealing from Peter to pay Paul is what Oakland has been doing under this current administration. And then we have a lot of harm legislated into the city of Oakland. Namely, the eviction bans. And so this has caused a real serious problem for landlords. Landlords are trying to refinance a lot of their debt, or they're stretched to the maximum. They've used up, taken out loans on their property, used up their savings, borrow against everything. And I know some landlords like that. And those are the mom and pop, the small owners. Typically less than 20 units. 20 units and above, kind of a different category right there. If you have some income, you've got some folks that do pay. And this is the time when Section 8 really could have been advantageous for those landlords who still refuse to accept them. So, what the city council also did last week by holding off the 6.7% rent increase to 3%. You got landlords again struggling, and we get it. I get it. But a lot of this could have been avoided. But now what's happening, there's no soft landing for the landlords, the businesses, the property owners. And I put property owners in a different category because they got royally screwed by City of Oakland and Alameda County, thanks to Rebecca Kaplan. That was called Measure Q, Measure W. And those penalized property owners who have not developed their properties. And so they're assessed $6,000 annual penalty, and they can't write it off. And if you remember last year, my protest, Where Do We Go, Oakland? I sat on that property. I was bringing a light to what was happening to those owners. There are 8 owners that bought into that hillside that should never have been sold by Alameda County and backed up by City of Oakland. Problem with that property is you cannot develop on it. On that property sits an underground river. So during the winter, a river runs through that section of hill. And that's not unusual. There's a lot of homes that have been built on underground rivers. I've seen several of them myself, up in the Piedmont and Montclair area. So I know what it is, and it's incredible when you see one. But those folks are in a no-win situation right there. Those 8 property owners. They had hoped to build a home. They bought that, just the raw land, for $70,000 a partial. And then when they submitted their building plans and architecture, they were notified, oh, you can't build on this land. It's deemed unbuildable. And so that was the first time they found out about that. And because it's unbuildable, they can't sell it either. They cannot offload that. They're stuck with it. So they're going to be taxed $6,000 a year assessment for not building on their property, which they can't build on because the City of Oakland says you can't build on it. And Alameda County didn't care. They went ahead and sold that as excess community land trust property. That's something that could have been used in a different way and been profitable. But no, people with no imagination and very short-sighted are currently in charge. And that's the problem we have. We need people who have been in business, have had operated a successful business to be in charge. Because these folks that are leading our city, like I said, on the housing, yeah, they're creating affordable housing. Let me tell you how. Pretty soon, if not already, a lot of these landlords are going to be filing for bankruptcy. If they're unable to have the bank say, okay, we'll forgive the past outstanding and you can resume payments in so many days, of course. But even then, there's no certainty of this eviction being lifted. Large corporations, they can absorb that. They have hundreds and millions of properties, rentals here in Oakland. I was a victim of one of Oakland's most notorious slumlords here. Her name's Elizabeth Williams. She was in cahoots with the city building department, paying bribes to pass illegal work or have illegal work done by City of Oakland workers. So she got caught. Yeah, what does the city do? Not a thing. What does the county do? Not a thing. But yet, she can make people like myself homeless. And we thought that was the safety net, and that's not the safety net. So, we need better leadership. We need business people that understand business. And when I say if the bank does not allow that person to reaffirm the loan, the bank repossesses that property, and then it'll be sold at auction. Back in the mid-2000s, that exact thing happened in Sacramento. It was one landlord. That person owned 800 single-family homes near the Arco Arena. When they went bankrupt, way back in 2006, there were neighborhoods where there were only a handful of people living in them. Empty schools. It was crazy. How do I know this? I have a friend that lived in that zone, and he's one of the original purchasers of the property there, and so he's lived his entire life in that neighborhood. He watched everything. And so what's going to happen is those homes in Sacramento were selling for $500,000 to $600,000 in the countywide auction, which was through the Bankruptcy Court and in cooperation with Alameda County, or not, Sacramento County back up there. They sold all of those properties for approximately one-half. The average single-family home sold for $220,000 to $250,000, with the yard, air conditioning, multi-bedrooms, and so now everything's been restored and rebalanced, and now it's out of whack again. So we're going to see another correction here, but the problem is landlords, if they can't reaffirm loans through the bankruptcy court, or they can't continue on, the mom and pops that are landlords are going to disappear from the American face here. And only large corporations will be holding properties, but not to fear. Those properties, like I said, right now here in Oakland, I was looking at my last home here in the Grand Lake on Zillow, and Zillow placed my home there on Santa Clara Avenue at just over $2 million today. And so I think that's absolutely ridiculous, because I know how much it costs my great-grandparents when they purchased the land. I had the receipt in my hand when I took possession of that home and submitted that to the court. So a lot of different things. I know a lot of history of Oakland, but the affordable housing, it is on the horizon. Unfortunately, we're going to see one of the biggest transfer of wealth from the wealthy to the poor in the coming years here. And there's not a thing that we can do, because nobody's talking about the recession. We just finished the first down quarter. We need one more down quarter, and it looks like this next quarter is going to be even worse. So that will officially announce the recession. This will be the fifth one. I've lived through 4 already, so I know how to get Oakland through and have minimal financial loss and damages. And we're going to do that, but I need your help. The front runners aren't your friends. Like I said, Measure Q, Measure W hurt a lot of folks. Corporations, they don't care. They just, it's just a loss to them anyway, but it was a smaller loss. And then we have a lot of homeless folks that need housing. So we need to create that housing option to really make the CARES Act valid, because they have to have somewhere to go. And it can't be just some willy-nilly shelter or something stupid like that. We need real tiny homes. We need apartments for those that choose to live in a multi-family unit, or if they insist on a single family, that's what the tiny home projects are for. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. I gave you a hint a couple of weeks ago with that 4.8 million announcement that I made. So anyway, today the city of Oakland is in financial turmoil. Yes, there's some money coming in from the state, but we don't have the new projects that are needed to sustain Oakland and to prevent families from losing their homes and becoming victims to the greedy landlords and losing generational wealth. So I'm here to help create that generational wealth, help you keep you in your home and your family housed and a good lifestyle. We're going to recreate all of that with your help. Thanks for joining me today. We'll be right back.